Hello, percussion, and welcome to Lesson 12, Number 2. The reason why I'm showing you the video for Number 2 is I don't want you to read these rhythms and get confused by the way they look. These are rhythms you've been playing since B band. They just haven't looked this way for you yet when we look at them actually on the music. Another thing Lesson 12 teaches us is how to play in 2/4 time. And what I mean by that is if you look over here where the 2/4 is, usually in our band music, we've played songs that are just 4/4, or some of them might just have a letter C in the very beginning. And all of that tells us is it's called the time signature. And this time signature, this fraction, what it tells us is how many beats there are in a measure, which we talked about before in band. And then also tells us what type of note is worth one beat or gets the beat. So in this case, when we have 2/4, there's only going to be the top number, the 2 part of the fraction. The top number tells us how many beats there are in a measure. So since we're playing in 2/4 and the 2's on top, there are only going to be just 2 beats in each measure. The bottom number, the 4, tells us what type of note gets the beat, which would be a ta in this case. When we have a 4 on the bottom, a ta gets the beat, which means a ta equals 1 beat. So now let's get through this. Let's start reading rhythms here. I see TTs and only TTs. I see TTs grouped into 4. I see TTs that are 2, but there's this little tiny rest in between each part of the TT. So if I was reading this like we normally would, right, saying rest when we have a rest, saying TTs when we have that. If I'm looking at even in measure 1, I would say T rest, T rest. It's like really quick. T rest, T rest, T, 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 T rest, T rest, T, 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 T. And all we're doing, if you heard me reading that rhythm out loud, right? T rest, T rest, T, 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 T. And if you want to play that, here's what it would sound like. Ready, and. It sounds exactly like ta, ta, ti, 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 ta, ta, ti, 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 ti. Now, we've talked about this before when we were playing drums, especially in percussion, and even other percussion instruments. Sometimes, if we play, like if we played a bass drum part, or even the snare drum part, and there's a half note, right? It's 2 beats long, but all we as percussionists, we just hear that first initial sound, and it's like the rest of the sound of that note was more like a rest. Right, so a half note would be this. I played the beat, and then I went ta. If I'm just playing a ta, 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 ta. So what all this does is it just kind of it determines how spaced out rhythms are in our music for us percussion, and when they happen on which beat. So what we're playing in this song is the exact same thing as going ta, ta, T, 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 T. Except now, instead of tas, we have a TT, but with a tiny rest in between each. T rest, T rest, T, 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 T rest, T rest, T, 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 T. So, as you can see, this has like a first half and a second half, and each half is repeated. So we're going to play each half 2 times, and we're just going to do the whole thing. We've already kind of read through the rhythm, and we've kind of just played it a little bit too, so you can hear what it sounds like. I'm going to bump our speed down here to probably 85 for this one. And here we go, percussion. We're going to play the whole thing, lesson 12, number 2. The first half, played 2 times because of the repeat sign, and the second half, played twice because of the 2 times. Here we go, because of the repeat sign. Here we go. T rest, T rest, T, 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 T. T rest, T rest, T, 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 T rest, T rest, T, 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 T rest, T rest, T, 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 T rest, T rest, T, 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 ta, ta, same thing, T, 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 T rest, T rest, T, 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 ta. All right, percussion, that's how we do lesson 12, number 2. Not very hard to play at all. It's something we've been playing actually since B-Band, like we talked about. But I want you to start getting used to reading music that's in 2/4 time. And if you see that T rest, don't get confused by it. You know what it's going to sound like, but now it's just going to look different the way it's written on our music. All right, percussion, if you have any questions about this lesson, please leave it in the comments or send me a message. Bye.